Welcome to the Open Simulation Platform Conference 2022. Welcome to all listen. My name is Severin and I work for SINTEF. I have the great honor and pleasure to guide you through the conference today. Especially this year, where we for the first time in 2 years can meet again in person. As always, safety comes first. In the unlikely event of an evacuation, there's 3 emergency exits in this auditorium. You'll find one to your right in the back, one to your left in the back, and one to your left in the front. The Open Simulation Platform, or OSP for short, is a set of software tools and model interfaces to enable model exchange and collaborative simulations. Its goal is to bridge the technical gaps between different companies, different engineering disciplines, and different software tools and simulation techniques. Today, we'll give you a mix of practical experiences and user stories, current developments, and future directions and possibilities. If you're new to the OSP, I hope you get a little inspired today and that you learn how the Open Simulation Platform can be useful to you. And for those who are returning, I hope that today can give you a platform for sharing experiences and useful thoughts and bring you up to speed with ongoing developments. I can't quite remember when I first got in touch with the Open Simulation Platform, but there's one thing I can tell you with precisely 100% accuracy. I was wearing my nerd glasses when it happened. You see, I'm a research scientist. So I love math, I love physics, I love algorithms. I have a great passion for modeling and simulation. So I dove in head first into what I found to be interesting and challenging technical issues related to making the different parts of a co-simulation play together nicely. But despite that, it didn't take me too long either to see that the vision behind the Open Simulation Platform was much larger than that. We live in a world that is becoming ever more complex and complicated. We are faced with very difficult problems on global scales. And such problems naturally necessitate rather complex and coordinated solutions. So there's a strong need to be able to accurately predict, monitor, and control system performance and risks. And full system simulation naturally plays a vital role in this to help us understand what's going on and how to respond to it. And because these problems are no longer found only inside one country or only one organization or only one discipline, we need to work together to conceive of and create the solutions that are needed. We also need the right tools to succeed. We need tools that facilitate the exchange of models and information and allow for fast, easy, and reliable collaborative system simulations. And that, to me, is the core of the OSP vision. That is why I got captivated years ago and found my place as a happy nerd trying to make the world just a tiny bit better. The Open Simulation Platform was initiated in 2017 by the 4 partners Kongsberg Maritime, the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, NTNU, SINTEF, and DNV. We decided to establish a joint industry project in 2018 to confirm that the ideas behind the OSP were supported by the maritime industry. And the main developments you see today have been carried by the initiating partners together with the industry partners through many projects, workshops, and use cases. So what exactly is the Open Simulation Platform? There's 3 main components to it. There is co-simulation, there are common standards and guidelines, and there is open source software. Co-simulation is the joint simulation from standalone models. And if you ask me, I think it's great for three main reasons. It allows the efficient reuse of models, knowledge, and software. It helps you protect your intellectual property, and it allows for significant speed ups through parallelization. Then there's standards and guidelines. OSP builds on the functional mockup interface, FMI, which gives you a very useful and needed interfacing language on the binary low-level level. And the OSP interface specification tries to take it a step further and add semantics to the interfaces of your models. So we can make sure that the models, as well as the people using them, can speak the same language. OSP also has guidelines for documenting, verifying, and validating models. And the third key element of OSP is open source software. You can find out about all of this and much more, and in much greater detail, on www.opensimulationplatform.com. Don't go there now, save that for later. Now you've heard my personal story about the Open Simulation Platform, but we have many more for you today. The day is split into 3 sessions. This one, session 1, runs until lunch. It is streamed live as well. Its focus is more on the practical aspects. So we're gonna have focus on status and experiences. This session will also be recorded. Then after a lunch break, we start again at 1 o'clock through 3 o'clock in a more technically minded session, session 2, which has a focus on usability and next steps. This one will not be recorded live. Sorry, it will not be transmitted live, it will not be streamed, but it will be recorded, and all of this will be shared with you sometime after the conference. And lastly, between 3:30 and 5 in the evening, for those that signed up, there is an OSP hands-on session led by Klaas from DNV here in Ålesund in a different room, but I'll get to that a little bit later. So session 1, status and experiences. We have Christian from SINTEF Ålesund start us off with a keynote on OSP as an enabler, followed by Nikos Sakelaridis from Damen. He will be talking about energy management strategies for battery hybrid ferry. Have a short break to refresh and stretch your legs until we're back with Yongyeon Yeon from KSOE Digital Technology Research Institute, who will tell us about co-simulation for virtual commissioning of integrated controllers for an LNG carrier ship. We are then joined live by Kevin, who is now in South Korea, so he will give his presentation remotely. He will tell us about the integrated simulation sandbox and scalable power systems, system simulation. And finally, to wrap up session 1, Gyros Maurakos and Antonis Antonopoulos telling us about their digital twin for green shipping. I'm sorry if I slaughtered your names, I probably have. I hope you can teach me how to properly do it in the lunch break, which will be at 12 o'clock. So then we have 1 hour of lunch. The vouchers, yes, I'll get to that before lunch, I was thinking. Otherwise, we'll lose their interest. You know, we tell them where the lunch is, they're just going to disappear now. So thanks. So at 12 o'clock, the online streaming event will finish. As I said, the second part will also be recorded and made available after the conference. For those of you that are here in Ålesund with us today, we can go and have lunch in the cafeteria. Lunch break is between 1 and 3. And after the lunch break, between 1 and 3 o'clock, there is session 2, more technical, as I said, focusing on usability and next steps. We start with Thomas from Kongsberg Maritime, telling us about interoperability and running FMUs with special constraints. We've got Roger from DNV telling us about the usage of the LibcoSim APIs. Klaas from DNV will then tell us about FARN, an open source case generator And rounding off session 2 is Siegfried from DNV talking about assurance of simulation models. And apparently we'll find out if it's just another time thief or pathway to sufficient quality. At 3 o'clock, session 2 ends. For those that sign up for the hands-on experience, which is starting at 3:30, there is half an hour break. But even if you haven't and you're here with us today, please hang around, strike up conversations, have a good time. There will be some snacks and beverages served at 3 o'clock. And at 5 o'clock, we close the conference. A lot of information. I hope you all memorized this. Some practical information you probably wonder about. Questions and comments. We will do our best to allow for a few minutes after each talk so that we have time for questions and comments. Now, for those of you joining us live today, please use the QA function in Teams. We will try our best to answer all comments and questions that are coming in online during the conference or sometime after. If you are online and you have a question or a comment directly related to the presentation to the presenter, I'll do my best to pick up on that and forward the question to the presenter if we have time. As I said, the entire conference will be recorded and shared with you sometime after. And there will be food and beverages served just outside the auditorium, the entrance of which is here, and the refreshments are going to be served here. If you need to go to the toilet, you just head out on the upper exit to your left, down the corridor to your right, there's toilets. And yes, I know calling this toilet/lunch doesn't make it sound very appetizing, but trust me, the toilets are not directly next to a lunch, but we'll find out at 12. I warned you, I'm a nerd. I like numbers, so I couldn't help myself but sitting down late yesterday evening and have a look at the attendee list. And this shows you what countries are represented today here in Ålesund as well as online. So the Norwegians obviously take the cake with more than 90 people, but we also have 12 people from Germany. Herzlich willkommen, by the way. 6 from Greece, 5 from the Netherlands, 3 from Japan. We have 2 each from Korea, Finland, Sweden, the United States of America, and China, and 1 each from Cyprus, Spain, Singapore, Great Britain, France, Canada, and Italy. So despite a very hefty Norwegian bias here, we were able to gather a global mix of attendees. But why, you may ask, are we doing this in the picturesque but somewhat unlikely town of Ålesund in Western Norway? Christian from SINTEF Ålesund will now give us an answer in his keynote. Meanwhile, I wish you all a great Open Simulation Platform 2022 with interesting discussions, inspirational insights, and new contacts. Christian, the stage is yours.